The governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, has dropped out from the Republican presidential race and endorsed Donald Trump. The surprise video announcement comes ahead of this week's Republican primary in New Hampshire, where Mr. DeSantis was polling in the single digits. His departure leaves Nikki Haley as Mr. Trump's only significant rival. Here's a snippet of the governor's message to his supporters.
If there was anything I could do to produce a favorable outcome, more campaign stops, more interviews, I would do it. But I can't ask our supporters to volunteer their time and donate their resources if we don't have a clear path to victory. Accordingly, I am today suspending my campaign. I'm proud to have delivered on 100% of my promises, and I will not stop now. It's clear to me that a majority of Republican primary voters want to give Donald Trump another chance. They watch his presidency get stymied by relentless resistance, and they see Democrats using lawfare this day to attack him. Well, I've had disagreements with Donald Trump, such as on the coronavirus pandemic and his elevation of Anthony Fauci. Trump is superior to the current incumbent, Joe Biden. That is clear. I signed a pledge to support the Republican nominee, and I will honor that pledge. He has my endorsement because we can't go back to the old Republican guard of yesteryear, a repackaged form of warmed-over corporatism that Nikki Haley represents.
Well, last night at a rally in New Hampshire, Donald Trump reacted to the suspension of Mr. DeSantis' campaign.
Before we begin, I'd like to take time to congratulate Ron DeSantis and, of course, a really terrific person who I've gotten to know, his wife, Casey, for having run a great campaign for president. He did. He ran a really good campaign, I will tell you. It's not easy. They think it's easy doing this stuff, right? It's not easy. But as you know, he left the campaign trail today at 3 p.m., and in so doing, he was very gracious, and he endorsed me, so I appreciate it.
Well, for more on the state of the Republican presidential race after Ron DeSantis' withdrawal, here's our North America editor, Sarah Smith.
It is very unusual and really remarkable for a major candidate in a presidential race to pull out so incredibly early. So only one state has voted so far, Iowa, where they went to the polls last week, and Ron DeSantis finished a distant second, about 30 points behind Donald Trump. They will vote here in New Hampshire on Tuesday, and of course it will then be down to a two-person race between Donald Trump and Nikki Haley. And it's amazing to remember that this time last year, Ron DeSantis looked as though he really did have every chance of capturing the Republican nomination. But then he ran a pretty poor campaign where he came across as stiff and awkward and not really very likable to voters. And he was promising them Trump-like policies when it seems what voters really want is not Trump-like, but Trump himself. Donald Trump's doing a rally here in New Hampshire this evening. And he knows it's now just between him and Nikki Haley, who, even though she's polling quite well here in New Hampshire, is still well behind Donald Trump and very unlikely to pick up any of Ron DeSantis' supporters. So now it's really just a question of how quickly Donald Trump can get this nomination wrapped up. How many weeks from now will it be before he is the official Republican candidate?